الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. Yeah, it was interrupted by the same group of people who are always interrupting because they can't listen to anything. If they listen to something for more than a second, they'll start realizing something. That's what we've been trying to do for a long time, get people to notice something so simple. And when they fail to notice for 1 second, yeah, when something is right and something is wrong and try to make a decision, Allah wants us to make the right decision. We are here to practice decision making. We are here to follow and obey the chosen ones of Allah. We can't just make up our own rules. We can't just change everything that's already happened. We have to look at facts for us to be able to notice something. We are here recording stuff so people can see the facts. That when it's repeated questions, same thing after, when they think no one understands them, they don't even try to understand anyone. It's give and take.
You know, is it enough only to follow Quran and Sunnah when, if you look at from the time of the Prophet Bukhari, there was 600,000 hadiths and 99% of them were fake. Then is it enough to only follow Sunnah?
And this Sunnah came after. Ahl Bayt have been there from the time of the Quran. We follow Quran and Ahl Bayt because we explicitly are told in the Quran that they are purified, so they're the good ones. All we have to do is follow them. Rasulullah said so many times. In the Sahih books, in the 6 Sahih books, it doesn't mention Quran and Sunnah. So how can someone base their entire belief on saying it's Quran and Sunnah, Sunnis are going right and they're going to heaven? It's such simple things. When we talk about Sunnah, when I ask, what is the Sunnah? Who do you take it from? Sunnah of who? Sunnah of who? When it's simple questions they can't answer, they start looking at each other, start making jokes, start doing all sorts of things, shouting out comments, doing this. That's so simple to realize. So many people notice that it's such simple things that we have to see for ourselves. We're looking at so much stuff going on, but we don't notice what's going on. Everything happens for a reason. Everything in the world is going on for a reason. We have to look at the facts and we have to notice, what are we here for? When we explain so many times that is to follow, the word follow is explicitly preserved. As Shias, those followers, so if we don't become a follower, we can't be saved. How can you talk about you're right and you're going to be saved and you try to say, are you saying that other people are going to hell? Why should I have to say it? It's already been said. Why did the Prophet come? He already explained all of this. Why should I have to say something? Why does it matter what I say when it's already been said by the Prophet and we have to look at the facts? We can't be making up our own understanding of things.
And if there's one Sunnah, why are there so many different schools of Sunni thought?
Simple. That's it, exactly. Why? Why do you ask the questions when you should know when you should realize that we know so much truth? Instead of rather sticking to that truth, we ask why? The knowledge comes from Allah. If you follow the right path, you get to understand it. But how are you going to ask something from somebody, expecting something from someone? Then, when you tell them that a prophet has already said this, that everything has happened already in the past, you have to look at the facts. Then why is that so? Why would that be funny? Why would that be so hard to understand when it's so simple? The prophets have already said all of this stuff. We have to look at the facts that are there, so for us to understand. The truth is already there, it's already been said. Why does it matter what I say or what you say? Why would we just talk about so many things when we can't prove it, when we know the proof is there? It has to be that Islam is a complete religion. We can agree on so many points, but people think they want to be right.
And if there is one Sunnah, why do we have science of hadith then? why do you need to classify hadith if there's
I'm
one
sure you can
sunnah?
answer all of this. Go ahead.
The thing is, after the Messenger of God, there was at least a 66 years gap between
Well done.
the first original hadith literature.
Yeah.
But the first hadith that were recorded were either Za'if or Sahih. Bukhari came in the year 800 CE. That's more than 200 years
done.
after the Prophet Muhammad.
So how can you take your sunnah from somebody that hasn't even met the Prophet?
Now, the sunnah is of three types. Qawliya, Fi'liya and Taqririya. In that, you've got
This is all
two other
complications.
classes.
They tried to say
Exactly.
keep things simple, but they complicate things.
That's what I'm trying to get
Why
at.
would Islam be so complicated? Why would Allah make things so complicated? No, He's made it easy. He's given us reminders are everywhere. I keep reminding people of everything, yeah, but they overlook the simple things when Allah is asking us for simple things and we cannot obey and we cannot understand. We don't want to follow. All we have to do is follow the truth. Come on, we follow the truth, we understand it. But when we're trying to disagree with so many things, when we choose to overlook so many things and go into complicated stuff where there's going to be disagreements, why can't we agree? When you ask a question, you get a simple answer. Why is it not enough? Why always have to make everything hard when things are already made so simple for us to understand? Allah isn't bad, Allah is good. Allah is truly magnificent. We already know this stuff. We have this guidance within us. We come to this world knowing everything. When our body and soul meets, we forget everything. So we're supposed to remember. It's simple things. All we have to do is try to remember the things that we've forgotten already, because Allah is the one guiding us. So if we follow His guidance, we can't go wrong. If Allah says, stick to these two things and you will not go astray, He says that to His Prophet to reveal to the people as His most important message, to hold on to two things, Quran and Ahl al-Bayt. Why does it become Quran and Sunnah? We have to look that this is creating a division. This is going against the will of Rasulullah, and that is to go against the will of Allah.
And also,
If that's before, and Rasulullah says follow after me, Ali, so there's a before and there's an after. So we have the full story. All we have to do is understand and put things together and follow the right way. So if we follow the wrong people, what's going to happen? We're going to go astray. It's so simple.
and on the question of the being simple, if it was that simple, if you look at, for example, Ibn Kathir and Ibn Abbas was nearer the time of the Prophet, right? But they have different tafsir. How is it possible? For example,
Exactly. How can there be so many differences? How can there be so many?
For example, Ibn Kathir and Ibn Abbas, they differ on Surah Hujurat, but they agree on Surah Tahrim. How is that difference? Where did it come about from? Things are not clear cut then. So you need people, leaders.
Once we start looking at the facts, then we start noticing these things. I'm sure you know this answer as well. So you feel free, we're talking about certain stuff.
If you look at Surah Hujurat, the 49th chapter of the Quran, they say that those who raise the voice above the Prophet,
That's what
Ibn Kathir says that it was the two caliphs, Abu Bakr and Umar, but Ibn Abbas, who was near the time of the Prophet, he said no,
Absolutely.
it was for a delegation of Bani Tamim. However, regarding Surah Tahrim, they both agree it was regarding the two wives. So it clearly shows that if you have different interpretations, you go from a narration.
Well done.
But the narration
How
is not
do
the
we
same.
get different narrations? It's through those people who did not want to obey and put their own meaning on the verses. So when we have two sides of a story, that's clearly indication whether there's a right and there's a wrong. So there's always a right and a wrong. So if we cannot start to make the right decisions, we start look at two things, and for whatever reason, we choose not to follow the truth. The truth is Allah.
Truth in the Quran.
The two things that cannot be separated is Quran and Ahl al-Bayt.
And
This is clear. This is clear.
Is wives of Prophet Muhammad.
Is wives of Prophet Muhammad. I'm sure.
That's what Allah said. That's
What we
Allah
know,
said.
the Ahl al-Bayt is the family of the Prophet. Ahl al-Bayt means family of the Prophet.
But if you go
We
to
have the family
Surah
of the
Ahzab,
Prophet.
Surah Ahzab,
No,
it
listen,
will-
no.
33,
You
33.
see, everything I just
33.
explained for the past
Yeah.
few minutes Yeah, he chose to overlook. People choose to overlook. Like I just said, they overlook the
But
truth.
that cannot be the wives of the
You try
Prophet
to disagree.
because that cannot be the wives of the Prophet because Surah Tahrim was revealed regarding the wives of the Prophet. Ritza means Ritza means to keep away from idol worship and gambling and drinking. It's regarding filth and impurities. Now, when Allah is saying Salihun, Salihun, there were many Salihun,
Exactly.
but Allah chose only those Salihun which had two wives.
There were people chosen from
Hazrat
before.
Nuh and Hazrat
So
Lut.
we have
You
to
could have chosen all
choose
the other
those
ones,
who
like Ishaq
they
and
are
Yaqub.
they're definitely
Hazrat
right.
Ishaq and
From
Ismail.
before, they came
There were
to
so
lead
many.
us. If
There
we
were
follow
there were
them,
so
we'll
many.
be saved.
There were so many. See,
Well done.
No, Allah
You can't
said,
just follow
I
anyone.
keep away the filth and the impurity from